This is Fullest House, first edition, where we are playing Vaettiheim. It is turn 38. Should be a decently exciting one. Nothing like losing a battle to make things more exciting. We finished quite a bit of research. We get our, mass protection, a few other useful things. We might be able to wiggle our way into Fog Warriors now that we have the Throne of Air. And then we get some lower level conjuration research for the birds. And then we move on to Thaumaturgy, which we've talked about for Raga. We are bringing in some garbage to replace our front line. They're not going to be as good as Rimvetti, but, they will at least stand in the way while we poison our enemies. And we find no sights this turn, it looks like. But at least our blood hunting does okay. Not fantastic. There's a whole grab bag of battles. And it looks like, Pythium is just going to attack us, I guess. And sure, fair enough. I think this is another player that is subbed, so I'll have to figure out. I definitely am not in touch with the sub. Let's take a look at some of these battles. So this is where we are getting attacked, by Pangea, and this is one of the places that we did not set up a trap or a PD dump, so this is definitely going to work out for them, but we should be able to recapture it fairly quickly. They are moving away from our territory, so hopefully they're going to start bumping into, a lot of the Pythium forces. Of course, this is going to cause a lot of problems because it's like, well, hopefully we can finish off Pangea relatively quickly. But Pythium, I think, has at least some poison resistance built in and has some nature access. Of course, obviously, so does Pangea. They just haven't been, setting themselves up for it. But anyway, it's totally possible that Pythium will be ready for Foul Vapor's play and is set up to counter a Foul Vapor's play, in which case we'll have to figure out something different for them. But if we're busy, figuring out something different for them, then, we're not really participating in the action against Raga. We'll see. Maybe Raga just comes away with this. Right, this is our Swarm Raid here, and, almost no PD left. Although, that said, they do get, this Centaur Commander, who luckily does not have poison resistance, so I do think our bugs will come away with it. But definitely a little on the dangerous side. It does matter, the PD Commander. We come away with that. Swarm raiding against 1 PD, totally acceptable. Does work. Interesting. Okay, so they're sending. I didn't know they get Lars. I guess that makes sense. They have a thugged out Lar. Don't super agree with this. But we just have a PD dump here. With some of our Horde of Skeletons casters. We're not really set up here to take on a thug, especially an ethereal thug. That said, between all the units that we have, okay, he can put regeneration on himself. We may not come away with this. We could get an HP route. We're probably not going to do enough damage. Yeah, with 30 protection. Fair enough. This is a fairly effective thug. I do think that they're better used, in armies. This is at least for early age Urmor. I don't really actually have any experience with late age Pythium, so maybe the situation is different for them. As long as we can just turn timer this fellow. Although I think that, like I said, probably if we make enough dead, we might be able to keep ourselves afloat. There's a good chance that we'll rout just because of all of our casualties. But I'm not sure that he's killy enough. He's just got his 1 attack. And I do believe, are these both? I think these are, they're both Skelly spammers. So we might be able to generate enough undead that he can't actually ever cut his way completely through. We're never going to kill him. But since he is the attacker, right, as long as we just manage to time out the battle, skeletons, it's a pain. They're hard to deal with. So you need a fairly killy thug to get through, especially 2 Horde of Skeletons casters. Now that said, our Vetti's morale certainly could fail at any point. There's a long time for them to not have a morale failure. Speak of the devil. That doesn't work out for us. And that's sad. That is quite a bit of money. Because we, the province defense, and then our Vetti managed to retreat. Yeah, they retreated successfully, which, we twice borned them, so not the end of the world if we lose those. And then let's see, this is a battle in Pangea, so this is probably a storm, I'm guessing. No, okay, it's Pangea just poking their head out, right? And now this is relevant for us, because, this could be our army that we have to kill. And yeah, right, these serpent cataphracts, I thought, it's only 5 poison resistance built in, and that's definitely not enough to keep you completely safe from foul vapors. But it does mean that, they're going to be around longer. Okay, yeah, we're not going to see a bless. And there is some mage support here. Looks like they're set up to do Mind Burn, or possibly that's what they're doing because... No, okay, there's just no gems on them. So yeah, probably a Mind Burn Communion, right, with a bunch of his sacreds. I feel like Pythium usually doesn't take that heavy of a bless, and I don't think we've seen Pythium's bless, or I certainly can't remember it. But you never know. They could take a pretty heavy bless, you know, and people do all kinds of things. And, like, this is definitely enough sacreds, right? There's a ton of these guys. So, like, you know, this is going to demand respect. And if we have to fight this, you know, immediately after having to fight Pangea's army while losing our own army, and then also, like, deal with, I mean, yeah, we can't also deal with Raga at that point. So we'll definitely need to, you know, reach out to this sub and see if we can reach some sort of agreement. But I have a suspicion that, you know, whoever it is that is, you know, playing this nation now saw our loss on top of Abyssia and figures like, well, right, like, you know, Vaettiheim is not really in a position to do anything about this. And this is probably Raga taking yet another throne, yeah, with their unsupported Zedans. Yeah, I think this is the throne that's right next to Abyssia. I'm guessing, not 100% sure on that. So, like, yeah, I think there's only like one leader here too. I'll have to double check in the battle report. But yeah, I don't think there's any way that doesn't work out for him. Like, yeah, no losses. I mean, you know, this isn't a particularly scary throne. You know, 24 heavy cav, that can be kind of scary, but this many Zedans, he does at least... No, yeah, it's just the one leader. These are some griffins that have lost their riders. You get to keep the griffins, and if you send them back to the cavalry, you get, like, another rider, which is kind of cool. But, like, yeah, this is, like, just the absolute height of arrogance. Like, this guy can't even, like, bless all of these Zeddan. So, yeah, I mean, he's not really at war with anybody in this area, but, like, at the same time, you know, you got to be thinking that it's like, okay, I'm absolutely massive and, like, kind of throne rushing, so, like, nobody's going to be friendly towards me. And this would be, we could absolutely spring like a foul vapors trap on this. And I think that would absolutely be worthwhile, right? Oh, okay. It is at least his profit. Okay. So he can bless all of them. Because that's what I was going to say. Like, you know, these guys, they have, you know, not quite full poison resist, but enough poison resist. They're like killing enough. You need a heck of a foul vapors trap, you know, to kill these particular Zeddan. But normally these guys are just like level 1 priests and trying to bless up all this, like forget it. So he's at least flying them around with his prophet, but still fairly risky. Not just, you know, not because of the throne, but just because like, well, you never know, like who's it. If we had, you know, we do actually have some magic phase stuff. Anyway, I'll have to think about it, but like, yeah, that absolutely is something that, you know, you can magic phase onto. Now, I mean, you know, it's a huge stack of fairly heavily blessed Zeddan, so, you know, there's a limited subset of things that's going to be able to cheese such a stack, but it's dominions. There's definitely things out there that could do it. So yeah, I'm very sad that, you know, we're not going to be able to jump in against Raga immediately, but, you know, I mean, that's what happens when you send a bunch of, you know, ice goblins into a cave that was the home of the fire people and expect things to go well. So this is a Pangean raid against, yeah, one of our province defense dump places. Horse tribe, this is like the weaker raid. We also, yeah, have some of our wolf brothers here, and like, you know, this is like what we were setting our traps up for, not a like heavily geared lar. So that works out for us, and yeah, we don't lose anything, so that's nice. And then we also get attacked somewhere else. I'm not sure where this is. Oh, okay, interesting. So, like, yeah, he's just marching around in a circle around Abyssia. I think that's where this is. So, anyway, yeah, we have some province defense because we were hoping to hold on to this, but we're definitely, like, not set up for a trap here. But, like, yeah, we will definitely be able to use our foul vapors trap on that because I don't think that province is that far away from where that force is gathering. And this is where we just sent in our one twice-born Veti. And yeah, there's not a lot of province defense here. And luckily, oh wait, no, he's going to try to stay behind the troops. I think we got sniped by the harpies though. I forgot they get harpies. So like, yeah, we're not really going to be able to, we'll at least have to give some bodyguards if we, you know, plan on having any success for that. And you know, we did a pretty light commitment because yeah, this force was inside Abyssia, so I was concerned that it, you know, would just sit and patrol. It turns out, you know, that wasn't necessary. But of course, you know, that mage was twice-born, and then we take control of a province. So, you know, Pangea didn't even bother to leave any province defense. They are probably like pretty low on money. And then we catch a battle between Falegra and Marignon, and we knew that this was going on through the grapevine. Okay, interesting. So this is one of the main features of Falegra. They get these Falegran tyrants, and like, yeah, they're pretty nasty super combatants. Like, yeah, this total like tag soup here. Like he's got a fire shield. That's kind of interesting that he's been given. This is increases your defense by a lot. And I don't think defense 19 is not awful, but I don't think that's like normally what these tyrants kind of rely on. You know, they're not. When your legs have turned into snakes, you know, mobility probably isn't your strongest suit. But nonetheless, that's the weapon he's been given. And of course, like the snake legs can attack too. And Marignon does not have a ton here, although these lizards are pretty scary. They do hit pretty hard, with pierce damage. And like, yeah, here comes some imps to try to like mess up the script and, just cause problems. But this definitely doesn't look like it's been set up to deal with super combatants. So like we'll see. Like these lizard guys can be fairly scary, and I don't think his protection is only 23. He does regenerate 10%, decent amount of hit points. But when he gets fully surrounded, the fire shield I think really saved him there because it killed like a ton of his attackers. And then they don't have great morale, but he definitely did take a decent amount of damage. I wonder. No, it didn't pick up an affliction, so that's nice. Regeneration does help with that. So that doesn't work out for Marignon, but yeah, that was mostly province defense anyway. So they lose almost nothing of their own stuff. There is a master here who I think is a cap only. Definitely slow to recruit, so hopefully he retreated successfully. Always some danger, right, when you have expensive mages that are forced to retreat. And then we had an unexpected event, 1 Earth Gem. Hey, it's not a bad event. Speaking of bad events, as bad events go, could be worse. And then we finish a fortification somewhere. Right, this is to get some of those independent mages. Excellent. And then, here's our white mage coming back. And I will catch you guys after the jump. All right, this was the situation and what we did about it. We are collecting an absolute massive pile of stuff on the border with Pangaea. This definitely is costing us a good amount of gems, a lot of death gems and nature gems, both of which we're very low on, but both of these unit types are resistant to poison, so will be useful in a foul vapors trap, though we have collected a decent number of just regular units, mundane units that don't have poison resistance, so we'll see how we end up using those. Still, I do think we have enough stuff and enough casters here to make a pretty effective army. We will be pushing it out towards Abyssea again. We are trying to cool down Abyssea, which perhaps isn't the wisest idea in retrospect. It's not that it's a bad idea, it's just the timing is not great. It's about to be summer. It's full heat right now. We don't actually have a ton of water gems or that much water gem income. So we'll see if we're able to keep this up. Hopefully we won't need to do it for too many more turns. We have a few raids going off. We're going to go ahead and raid into this fairly large Pangaean force, the majority of what they have left, just with some of our twice-born mages. So if it doesn't work out, that's fine. Also of note, Pythium has rolled out not just one of their Lar thugs. We can see 2 other Lars, which I'm assuming are thugs, since they are now controlling Pythium provinces. There is also a stack of barbarians here from Pangaea, which I'm assuming are foreign recruits since they don't appear to be a mercenary, which is interesting. We have done a province defense dump and are moving some units in to try to block this. Related to the Lar thugs, because potentially we might be tangling with Pythium here. We are forging some moon blades. They are magic beings, so they are susceptible to that sword. And that covers the majority of what we're up to. Otherwise, just pushing around site searchers, moving up reinforcements. In terms of the wider world, it was not the throne next to Abyssea that Raga grabbed. It was one of the thrones that they kind of have internally, so this is a bit of a safer move than I first thought, though still, anytime you have a stack of pretty much all of your sacreds with only one commander, that makes me nervous. Also relevant, potentially, we're trying to get a look at how big Pythium actually is. Doesn't look like they're that large, right? We can see what must be a border here with Utgard to the north, and they can't extend too much farther to the northwest here. We do see Atlantis. I think we already knew they're pretty much just down to their capital. We do see one of Relay's flags, not super far inland, but they do appear to have some sort of land presence, as well as probably owning, the full lake, since we do see one of their flags here, and Atlantis is really like the other major power that they have to worry about. There are a few others in late age, but none of them are particularly close yet. So, Relay seems to be doing at least okay, which is new information. Still don't have a ton of information on Jomon yet, kind of cruising through, taking a look at the Marrow's lands. Falegra, as we know, is fairly down to it here, so we're just keeping an eye on that conflict between them and Marignon. And I think that covers what we know about the world, and also more or less covers turn 38.